Big volatility coming to the crypto market. But before that, let's have a quick look at what's actually going on overall. We are yo-yoing like crazy in the fear and greed as the powers that be, the powers that don't be, yank at our heartstrings and play a little yo-yo game with it. Okay, so fear, greed. We're basically oscillating between neutral and greed, back to neutral, greed, and now we're back to neutral again. And look at the trending box. I like to look at this trending box here. Completely new members. And some of them appear to be doing almost, 2x's, 3x's, even though, the market is dumping generally. Now, don't FOMO into these, right? Not financial advice. Do your own research. Don't FOMO into this because a lot of these tokens that you see that enter this box, unless they're like large caps and mid caps or whatever, a lot of them don't have the liquidity for you to exit the token. It does a 10x, a 20x. Somebody who got in early could probably afford to get out and dump the market, right? But if you getting at this point, you're basically providing exit liquidity for most of these tiny caps that pump to the top of the trending coins box, right? Some of them do carry on and become the Pepe, the Shiba, the Doge, or what have you. But most of them do just die out after everyone that got in early, including the developers, dump and gets out and you're left holding the bag. So just a little bit of insight there for someone who's been around for a while. Now look at Bitcoin looking quite terrible. Let's have a look at the 7-day chart. Looks even worse. Looks like there's a massive downward trend there. We know what triggered that, of course. It's the fear in the market. Irrational fear, if you ask me, because it's not a real thing, really. So you probably already know we got that economics reports in the United States that indicated that there were more jobs available than had been originally estimated. In fact, that companies were hiring. And this is a bad sign because this is controlled by, the Fed and Wall Street and all that, and not what's actually happening in real life. So as a result, tech stocks and, high risk stocks, quote unquote, were dumped by Wall Street and, investors and stuff, which caused, Bitcoin to dump because they treat Bitcoin, obviously, as a tech stock, a risky tech stock, probably one of the riskiest ones from their point of view. It couldn't be farther from the truth, but it is what it is. And as a result, the rest of crypto took a nosedive along with Bitcoin. But our beloved XRP, even though it did dive, got back in the green really quickly because, first of all, it didn't even actually dump as much as Bitcoin and the others, but it recovered relatively quickly and has sort of stayed in the green compared to Bitcoin and the others. If I go to that same 7, you can see that it's not as drastic. It's just like dipping green, red. So it's moving sort of sideways rather than taking a big battering like the other tokens have. So shout out to XRP for holding its own. There's a lot of bullish flags that keeps XRP going. XRP Army, of course, diamond-handed, so they're not panic selling like the others. The sales that you're seeing in XRP are primarily from non-XRP Army folk, from Wall Street that have bought XRP for profit. But, we all know what's coming, right? We have RLUSD doing its thing. We have Ripple expanding their influence in the United States. We have the largest bank in Germany saying that they're working with Ripple. We have banks all over the world talking about Ripple. We have people talking about Ripple in the news. There's just so much going on now with XRP that even I am having a little bit of time keeping up with a lot of it, right? But we know that this dump is not really real. And now we have, again, some more activity, right, that has pushed Bitcoin down even further. Because if you look at the charts, right, you had that dump like a day ago. This was the dump. And then it sort of started recovering and then started trending downwards again. And this is probably due to the fact that the Department of Justice has been cleared to sell that much Bitcoin. But again, that's not really a real thing because all of it is panic based, right? You probably watch his channel as well. George from Cryptos R Us, he made a really solid point about this. Look, if the Department of Justice decides to sell this coin and then just 2 weeks down the line, the Trump administration comes and buys it back again at a higher price, or maybe it's dumped and they're buying at a lower price, who knows? But the whole process is completely dumb, right? So the Department of Justice didn't buy this Bitcoin, right? They basically seized it, right? They confiscated it from illegal activity, quote unquote, from the Silk Road story, right? Now, what this means is that the Department of Justice has been in 100% profit, well, massive profit from day one, right? So all of that Bitcoin represents profit for the DOJ because they didn't buy it, right? They just seized it from somebody. So at any point they could have sold this. So why is it that now, when the new president, the new administration is rolling in, they want to sell it? And why is it now, with Bitcoin gaining so much momentum and news of like countries, including the United States, looking to buy Bitcoin for reserves purposes, would the DOJ now be selling? Apart from just being a deliberate, last hurrah, last attempt to, cause some damage or halt the momentum of Bitcoin somehow, this doesn't even make any sense. Again, this is obviously just FUD. The DOJ itself isn't saying that they're selling. They haven't started selling for as far as we can see. They haven't started selling. This release was just put out maybe as a bit of FUD. Maybe it's just coincidence. Sometimes court cases take ages and this is just the time that's been released. But whatever the situation is, the reaction in the market is one of panic. And it's basically just traders, I think, trying to preempt what other people are going to do. So these traders think other traders are going to sell as well, and the price is going to dump. So they preempt that by selling, hoping to buy back in later, probably. I mean, you can't be that dumb if you're a trader to think that Bitcoin is going down with all this interest that we're seeing. They panic sell, or they sell on purpose, and then this causes liquidations, which then causes further stop losses to be hit, causing further liquidations, and then it just cascades down. And you just need a little bit of Kindle to light this cascade fire. And it happens all the time. And you just see this massive dump. That isn't necessarily the intention of the original sellers, but it just is what it is. You get, longs liquidated, you get, stop losses triggered, and everything just dumps, right? But then what you see is a recovery because there's a lot of buy orders that are sitting at those levels because those people also are anticipating that to happen. Some of those traders also buy back when their target is reached. Another thing that you're going to see, of course, is that these dips are not going to be as bad because in the past, this kind of thing would have dumped Bitcoin 20-25%, and we would have seen liquidations that would have pushed it another 10%, would have seen 30% dumps of Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin dumps 20%, 30%, you can imagine what used to happen to the altcoins. So compared to the kind of volatility we used to see in the past, this is really, really mild stuff, right? And of course, $6.5 billion, man, that is nothing. Split between Fidelity, BlackRock, Michael Saylor, and whoever else wants to buy Bitcoin at this point. That's a couple of trades, right, for some of these organizations. So if you're a retail investor, quote unquote, then you would be astronomically dumb to panic sell at this point. Obviously not financial advice, do your own research. Talking of which, another great point that George from Cryptozoros made is that the new administration coming in a couple of weeks, if they did go ahead and sell this Bitcoin, then, they're just going to be fired. But then it got me thinking, well, can he fire the Attorney General? Doesn't the Attorney General just roll in with the president anyway? Isn't a new Attorney General elected or appointed, shall I say, every administration? Has there been any situation where they kept the same Attorney General? I feel like I've seen Garland around for a long time. Has he spanned more than one administration? Or was he doing something else for Obama and then now he's Attorney General? I'm quite certain that I've seen him around for a very long time. So I'm not really familiar with the whole sort of, Department of Justice, Attorney General, or whatever that is. But the United States politics basically affects us all, as you can see. Not financial advice, not political advice, most definitely not legal advice. I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourself. Peace.